Kathy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. I will call the September 11th, 2023 meeting of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that the board did meet in executive session. And I'll turn to our solicitor to give a highlight of the items that we discussed in executive session.
We discussed the status of 3 litigation matters through two zoning cases, 0 3rd Avenue and 0 Hickory Avenue or Hickory Road, I guess. One new litigation matter, the Ashford Land Company versus Board of Assessment Appeals, Marple Newtown School District and Newtown Township. The court allowed us to open the judgment and allowed us to intervene. And then we discussed a township employee disability issues under personnel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sikora. I'll now ask Mr. Nease to please call the roll.
Mr. Altieri,
Here.
Ms. Roberts Lightcap,
Here.
Mr. Partridge. Here. Mr. Russo.
Here.
Ms. Chanlis.
Here.
Thank you. Your solicitor, engineer, and manager are here.
Thank you very much. We'll now move down to the moment of silence. I ask, obviously, on this solemn day that we remember all the innocent lives that we lost 22 years ago today on this September 11th. And we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move down to item 5, agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. I'm just going to note it when we get down to it. Section 6, public comment for agenda items only. If there's any members of the public who have anything to say with regards to an agenda item, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Again, you will also have the opportunity to provide public comment on any township issue at the end of the meeting, but anything related to the agenda, we ask you to come up now. Let the record reflect there is no public comment. Move down to section 7.1. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the August 14th, 2023 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Section 8, presentations. 8.1, the 2024 capital budget presentation. Township Manager, Mr. Steve Nease.
Yes, I'm going to go through this again, kind of rather quickly like I did last month. But I just want to, while Rose is pulling up the presentation. Oh, there's no presentation. All right. I will go ahead and present without it real quickly, just kind of give you some numbers, and then we'll get you the full presentation for that.
And just to be clear, we were provided ourselves a draft
Yeah.
of that presentation. So we've all seen it before.
Yeah, you've all seen it.
But we'll also get it attached.
We'll get it attached.
eventually, yeah.
Yes. Under our first slide that we'll have, there was just the rating system that we use, the ABCD. Reminder that the A's are things that we consider safety issues or essential, B, best practices, C, recommended upgrade services or to improve productivity, and then finally D, items that we're thinking about for the future. The first thing that we looked at is administration capital. And the only thing that the administration area working with between the finance and codes is we still want to go ahead and get the scanning done of the property files. That's not yet been done. Hopefully we'll get that project started next year. It's about $128,000 to do that whole, or $180,000 to do that whole project. We're going to spread it out over about 3 years to do that. The next area is the police capital. The police capital, there's really two items. The first being the two police cars that has kind of been on your radar every year, pretty much for the last 8 years at least. And then the other thing would be the LPR cameras, license plate reader, which I think was originally presented last year, the concept of being able to read license plates at the corner of 252 and 3. And the real purpose for that is really investigation. We've had several incidences where we've actually been able to reach out to neighboring towns that have it to see where cars that have left our town, they reach out to us and ask if we have it, and we don't. And 252 and 3 is a pretty major intersection in the county, and so it would be helpful. And that cost is $8,300 a year, but it's an ongoing type of cost. So the total for the police was that with that 8,300 plus the 126 for cars is 134. Under public works capital, we have several different things, and this is actually different than what I just talked about, the LCRs. We actually are looking at new lane detection cameras at Route 3 and 252. What we're finding is the current ones have a problem with sun glare. And because of that sun glare, it's actually causing the timing to be off. And so we would like to put in, I think they're like a higher density camera. Is that a best way to describe it? They're thermal cameras. So we'd like to do that. And those are $24,000. Another thing we've had on our list before are speed tables. Those are still on there if the board wishes to do that. Our wonderful Valley Ford Road Bridge, we're still looking for opportunities to get funding for that, but at some point we're going to have to do something on it, whether we get funding or not. St. Albans Circle, we had talked about that, and the board has approved us moving forward. We're just not sure we're going to get it done this fall. So it's in the budget for next year to do that program. The road program, we've tapped out at the 400,000, and now we're just putting a 3% increase as kind of the cost of living increase each year. So it'll be 412,000. We've talked about the municipal roof and gutters, and with us switching the engineer and going to that, they put a whole plan together. We're still waiting for quite all the details, but we're pretty close on that roof. And so we need to go out to bid. My guess again is that's something that we'll go out to bid and get done early part of next year, and we'll replace the gutters at the same time. Once we get that done, then we can address the library patio, because we need to put new drainage in there when we do the gutters. Paper mill house, we went back and if you'll recall, you asked the engineer to go back and you authorized the engineer going back and doing a little bit more study. And in that, they also looked at the replacement of the roof as well as some exterior wall fixes. I think it involves some shutters and some other items at the paper mill house. The roof portion of that is about 152,000, but the total cost is 439,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back out for a grant. However, if we don't get the grant this time, we probably can't put the roof off again. We really are having problems with the roof. Actually, the way it was installed incorrectly, and there's not the breathing underneath of it, and that's what's causing the roof to curl up, which is what's causing some of the leaking. And so we need to address that. And so we're putting it, you'll see the number in there twice. Once is 439 and once is 152. We're only going to spend it once, but we don't know which one it's going to be depending on whether we get the grant or not. If we get the grant, they would pay half of it. So it'd be about 2 something. If we don't get the grant, we're going to be paying 152. So that's the public works direct ones. And then we have kind of parks and trails, capital items. Those include the pavilion and the bridge and the pond, the bridge across the pond and the gazebo. Again, we've gone out for a grant. If we don't get the grant, we really need to do the repair of the bridge and the roof at the pavilion, and that's 86,000. If we were to get the grant, the township would only be on the that would only have to pay 18,000. So we're hoping for the grant for that. We've talked about this before too, is the crosswalks at Bishop Hollow and Goshen Road. The crosswalks at Bishop Hollow, we have a pretty firm price, I think, of about 35,000 now. The Goshen Road ones, if we can't do solar, will end up being much more expensive. We put the 35,000 in, but if we can't do solar, that number will go up because they'll actually have to put arms in and all kinds of stuff across Goshen Road to make that one work. We've talked about the key system, and we're still getting the exact dollars for our parks, and that would also include cameras at our parks. We've talked about the replacement of the artificial turf, which is about 500,000. We also talked about last year, I think it came up, what would it cost to upgrade Brookside Park field, the baseball field there that's kind of needs refurbishing, as well as I believe the grounds at Drexel Lodge, the playing fields at Drexel Lodge. I believe that the cost for Brookside is 24, and the playing fields are 10,000, and then we need to have about $20,000 a year going forward to maintain that once we do that. So if we are going to make that commitment, it's actually, I think the first year would be 34,000, but then 20,000 each year afterwards. Playground equipment fund. We've talked about this as starting to set money aside every year, so we always have money to do our playgrounds. That's 25,000. So those are the items for Public Works. The Parks and Rec Board has requested 5 items. One is benches and grill at the Brookside Park. That's $6,000. The Newbie Park, they've wanted the basketball court repainted. That's 13,000. And when we do that, we want to replace the backboards and the hoops. That's another 6,000. A new water cooler at Drexel Lodge, so that it would be a cooler outside a filling station. Not at Drexel Lodge. We have one at Drexel Lodge. It's like the one at Drexel Lodge we would put in out here at Gable Field. And then the last thing they had asked for was a new trail sign over at Drexel Lodge. The one thing they have taken off their list, but I just want to keep on your radar for future, is the Brookside. They would like to put in a inclusive spinner, which would allow, it's an ADA spinner that would allow children with disabilities to be able to get on there and play. The problem is, where they want to put it, we would probably have to put in a whole new pathway and everything to it. So it's a little bit more involved than just the spinner. And so they've asked to take that off until we can do some more research on it. And so we'll do that. Again, the streetlight replacement, we talked about this last year. We started that one as well. That was $20,000 a year. We would continue that $20,000 in that. We would take the fire department and we would increase their 25 to 50. That's the contribution we want to put aside, not to them directly, but for ourselves for equipment replacement in moving in that direction. I will tell you, they've requested to replace their rescue truck, and they've given us a cost of about 1.2 million when we met. And so obviously the $50,000 a year won't cover that. We know we need to get up to about 250. And so I don't know that we can do that this year with where our numbers are, but we're going to be looking whether we do another borrowing or whether we can put that off another year. But they're looking at that. They are saying it's taking about a year and 6 months or something like that to get the truck.
Yeah, it's almost like 2 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And
So
if they want it completely custom built, it's almost 3 years.
yeah, it's a really long time. So we want to kind of get that moving and figure out how we're going to fund it and then get them set up. And then if you remember, we do budget meeting requests or public budget meetings. And the 3 things that I pulled from it that I thought were kind of capital oriented. One was a compost site, which we're actually, George is working with getting a consultant in to look at that. And so we're working through that. We were talking about electric charging stations, and we're still looking at the cost for that. And then the other thing that came up was buying more open space. So we really have to kind of think about what kind of money you would want to set aside to buy open space. I mean, you could buy some land for very little, and some land could be a lot. And so what does that look like? And so we would just need to decide what that would look like. So those are the all of the different budget items. Some of them were carryovers from 2023. Those carryovers were roughly about $2 million. And then new projects for 2024 were about 1.3 million. And that's my presentation.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay. Move down to the July reports, section 9.1, report from the police department. Chief Lunn, do you have anything to add or supplement?
I have a question for the chief. On these two new police trucks we're getting, are we still getting the same Explorers? So we're still ordering? There's nothing else available?
Other cars available are the
And everybody fits in them okay? Some of the bigger guys fit in those things okay?
Any other questions for the chief? All right, we'll move down to 9.2, report from the Public Works Director, Mr. Sharretts. Do you have anything to add or supplement? Thank you very much. Report from the Building Codes Officer, Mr. Reczek. Do you have anything to add or supplement?
I don't think he's made it back home yet.
Perfect. Report from the Finance Director, Ms. Bullock. Do you have anything to add or supplement? Thank you. Report from the Library Director, Ms. Caruso. Do you have anything to add or supplement? Can I actually ask you to, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. If you can come up to the podium. So for anybody who's been reading Arlene's reports for the last couple of months, one thing that is consistent is that the library just continues to knock it out of the park with circulation items. And I believe that we have hit our second highest circulation month. Am I right? Second highest?
Actually, we just hit our highest ever in
There it is.
August.
Take the floor. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about it a little bit more, but also, what is it that you guys are doing that is, I mean, you open up the newspaper, you hear about libraries suffering and all this. And I think it's great that, every month your circulation is skyrocketing.
Yeah,
And so I just wanted to give you the opportunity to brag a little bit about you and your staff.
I'm here for that.
There you go.
I could brag about that. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the staff we have now. It's like, they're fantastic. And I know Steve's even told me that he's had compliments on our staff from community members. Also, I think it's gone up because our community is growing and there are just more people here. So that helps. Also, we went fine free in May of last year. And ever since then, our circulation has grown too, because families can check out books without being afraid they're going to be fined. And they still return them on time. So I think those are just a few reasons why we've really seen an increase. Plus, we order really good books too, and I do that. So no,
Yeah.
half of it. I do half of it.
Well, it's awesome. And like I said, I wanted to make sure that you guys got the recognition, because I think it's, what is it, over 12,000 items that were
We're
circulated?
at 13.9
There it is.
in August for the
Yeah,
month.
13.9. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll now move down to report from the Township Engineer, Mr. Johnson. Do you have anything to add or supplement to your report?
Just three quick items. The roads program is scheduled to begin on September 25th. That should be about 3 weeks of paving. Also, as far as the Greer Park improvements, out this week, if you're out and about, you'll see our surveyors are out surveying the full length of the creek and the pond area to prepare the plans for both the phase one of the park as well as the stream bank restoration that we want to do the full length through the park. And then as far as Ellis Avenue sidewalk, we were hoping that the contractor would have started by now, but we have, as of today, confirmed with him that they should be out laying out the sidewalk and mobilizing next week to begin the work on that.
Who was the contractor that got that project?
So it's DB Enterprises is the name of the contractor.
They do a lot of that type of work.
They actually had recently just completed a very similar project on Montgomery Avenue in Lower Merion. So it was very, I believe they just, they have a lot of work, hit some weather and, but they should be able to complete the work.
And for the Ellis Ave program, the, how long do we expect that to be?
We are, well, we're holding them to their notice, their contract completion date is about the third week of October. So we are trying our best to make sure they are completing at that point. And if they're running past that point, we do have provisions in the contract to help enforce that.
Help motivate them along.
Yes.
I like those provisions. All right, any other questions for Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Johnson, there seems to be one or two pavers in town that seem to be doing driveways and getting more oil on the street and more paving on the street than they're getting on the residents' driveways. Have you had a chance to send one of your people out to investigate? And is that affecting the roads? Some of these roads have been just recently, for the last 3 or 4 years.
I believe, because there's 2 locations you were talking about last time, I believe, George had gone out and you were taking a look at it. And it didn't seem, to be affecting that road too bad at that place. Didn't seem to be affecting the road there, but, we'll be circling through and working with, the codes to see where they are paving and follow up after them.
All right.
Any other questions for the township engineer? Move down to 9.7, report from the township manager, Mr. Nease.
Yes, I just have a couple things. First, want to make note that, most people have gotten kind of used to a yearly electronic recycling that we do with Marple and usually one other township at this time of the year. And in past, it's been Springfield. That is not going to happen this year. The cost was pretty great and the number of people that came last year was pretty low. So we're going to put it off to 2024. Just a reminder to our residents, Retriever will still pick up any recycling electronic recycling at your home if you want to do that, and that's on our website. I will note there is a cost for TVs and there is a cost to pick up that stuff from Retriever, but it's usually reasonable in comparison to some other places that you can take it. Paper Mill Road project, there is a county bridge that kind of goes over pretty far down there that goes over back. They're actually starting construction on that bridge. Mostly it will just impact the residents along Paper Mill Road. The project start date was August 28th. I don't know that they actually started on that date, but that's when they said they were going to start. It's supposed to take 547 days. They're actually having to put a temporary bridge in to allow the residents to have access to their homes and also so that we can have emergency access during that time. So there'll be a temporary bridge that's doing it. Abenizio Construction is the ones that are doing it along with McCormick Taylor as the consultants. So just know that that's happening, and it's the Paper Mill Road Bridge over Darby Creek.
And that's a county project, correct?
That is a county
And
project.
it's owned by the county. They're
Yeah, it's all done by the county. The township's not involved in it. We were hoping for a little bit more notice that I could have given everybody, but that's where we got. And the only other thing down on your agenda later on, under the road program, we had talked about adding Barron Road. We're recommending that we not add Barron Road. We've since found out that that was paved in 2000. The half of it was paved in 2020, and we don't think there's a need to undo what was just done 3 years ago. And so we're recommending just doing half. That's my report.
Is there a difference in the cost that's on the agenda?
Yeah, that'll drop the cost 31,000. So it'll be just this.
31,000 or
No, the cost. So when we get to that item, instead of, I'm looking for that item right now.
14.7.
Yes. So instead of being 48,000, will be 17,000.
so it's half a Barron and Wedgewood Circle.
Half of Barron was actually already bid out in the
Okay.
that you already did. This would have picked up the other half.
Oh, so none of Barron,
We're not doing any more of
just
Barron. 'Cause
Westwood Circle.
it's already in the contract. It's just picking up Wedgewood Circle
Okay,
So is it still 3,700 square yards
Excuse
of
me?
work?
of Barron,
George, go to the
except for those two
microphone.
blocks. Yeah.
blocks of Barron.
Yeah, thank you. George Sharretts, Director of Public Works. What we're talking about for this agenda item was just 2 blocks of Barron that we were talking about, and it was half of it had been paved by Aqua back in 2020. And so it had been spec'd out that would probably not be done. We were going to consider adding that back in, but upon looking at it again, it didn't make sense to do it. So Barron is still being done. It was just the 2 blocks from Westchester Pike up to
I
Dutton that we
understand.
were talking about.
So Barron is in the original. This is just the additional that we're not doing that additional in Barron. It's only Wedgewood Circle.
That's
Correct.
And how many square yards? 37 down to? Somebody asked that
It's
question.
roughly 3,700, be down to about 1,250.
Perfect.
Just to be clear, so when we get to that agenda item, so is it just consider adding Wedgewood Circle?
Yeah.
To the 2023 road program?
That's correct. That's correct.
But Barron is still getting done, so no one
Yes.
gets upset that Barron's not getting done. Got it.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Nease?
That's all I have.
Perfect. Move down to section 10, budget adjustment 10.1. Can I get a motion approving the budget increase 2023-03, moving $12,500 from the fund balance to capital expense to cover the remaining costs associated with the police vehicle changeover?
To move for approval.
Second,
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Section 11, payments, 11.1. Can I get a motion approving the escrow release payment to Lawrence Spear at 3434 Horton Road for a completed grading project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lycap, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 11.2, can I get a motion approving the 2023 MMO minimum municipal obligation payment to the pension plan as follows: $46,052.25 for non-uniform employees, $54,915.50 for uniformed employees.
So move.
Second,
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 11.3. Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion approving the payment to Newtown Township escrow account in the general fund totaling $2,334.25 to reimburse checks that were deposited into the incorrect account?
So move.
Second,
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, motion carries unanimously. Section 12, bills. 12.1, I've reviewed the bills and I will make a motion to ratify the bills on EFT register dated July 19th, 2023, totaling $1,034.44.
Second,
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, motion carries unanimously. 12.2, I'll make a motion to ratify the bills on EFT register dated dated August 20th, 2023, totaling $24,904.05.
Second.
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 12.3, I'll make a motion ratifying the pre-approved check register dated August 14th, 2023. Nell program ad payment totaling $500.
Second,
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lycap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, motion carries unanimously. 12.4, can I get a motion approving, I will make a motion approving the bills on check register A dated September 11th, 2023, totaling $267,974.76. Motion is made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Section 13, developer release. 13.1, can I get a motion ratifying the phase 2 escrow reduction number 4 for the Lister development totaling $208,275.80, which was approved at the August 14, 2023 meeting. The reduction stayed the same. The remaining went from $232,573.80 to $282,123.40.
So moved.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion?
Yes. Mr. Neese, can we get our maintenance inspector out and start violating them for along Goshen Road? They don't cut the grass. The grass is up 3 feet. There's fallen trees and there's fallen garbage. And everybody else, we maintain, George's team maintains our side of the trail. Everybody else in our township, from there on all the way down, maintains their lawn or their grass outside the fence. They don't maintain it. Trees fall. People have to go there and move them out of the street. I mean, they got to start maintaining that property. It's part of their.
I meet with the president this week of the HOA
It
and I'll
has to be
discuss it.
cut. They go out there twice a year, and it's only after we complain. They got to get out there on a regular bi-weekly program.
Okay.
Any other board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 13.2, can I get a motion approving phase 3 escrow reduction number 4 for the Lister development totaling $112,325 and leaving a remaining balance of $323,859.10 as approved by Stantec Engineering?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 13.3, can I get a motion approving phase 4 escrow reduction number 5 for the Lister development totaling $305,254 and leaving a remaining balance of $753,444.30 as approved by Stantec Engineering?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion?
Just, I'd like to point out, Mr. Chairman, that it seems like a lot of money going out, but it's not township money. It's money that we've held, correct? Mr. Neese, this is.
Yeah, these are
escrows,
bonds that we don't even actually have cash.
Right,
This is, they have bonds. It's just reducing the value of their bond.
okay. Just wanted to be sure because it's a lot of money. So it looked
Yeah.
like, why are we giving listeners? If we're not giving.
We're not giving,
just
it's
releasing the bond.
money that they put up front stating that they would do certain work. They've completed that work and that's all we're doing is reducing the bond down to the amount of work that they've completed.
Great, thank you.
Any other board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Supervisor Chandler, did you have something you wanted to say or were you just voting?
I was in voting.
All right, perfect. We'll now move down to section 14, new business. I'll note that item 14.1 has been tabled. Equus has pulled that or requested that be tabled, and so we'll put that under consideration for the next time. 14.2, can I get a motion approving the 2024 MMO required payments to the pension plan as follows: $234,524 for non-uniformed employees, $595,156 for uniformed employees.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Mr. Neese, I know you spoke about this about 2 months ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you want to add anything else to it.
Just that this is, we have an actuarial study done every 2 years. When they do that actuarial study, based on where we have, what dollars we have in the pension plan compared to what dollars they think we need to pay out, there's an amount that we have to pay in each year to maintain and meet what the requirements are. As I think I stated before, this is actually a total of about $425,000 increase between the two plans. Our plans are still healthy. It's just that they're not 100% funded, and this is helping us to get back to that 100% funding.
Any questions for Mr. Neese? Excuse me. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. 14.3, can I get a motion authorizing the township manager to execute the purchase agreement extension with Delaware County Public Schools Healthcare Trust to provide the township's medical coverage at a 0% increase for 2024-2025?
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese, do you want to add anything? to
I
this?
do want to just add one thing. I want to be clear that the 0% increase is for 2024. I don't know that it'll be a 0 in 2025, but they're asking for a 2-year contract. And so that's what you're approving.
Any other board comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 14.4, can I get a motion authorizing the township manager to sign the agreement with Dandelion Digital, a third-party vendor for communication/website assistance from October through December 2023 at a cost of $10,500 contingent on the approval from the township solicitor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 14.5, can I get a motion authorizing the township manager to send a letter to Delaware County that Newtown Township defer its 2023 allocation of county aid in the amount of $14,364 for use in 2024, at which time the 2024 and 2020, at which time the 2023 and 2024 allocations will be combined and utilized on a road or traffic signal related project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Mr. Neese, do you want to expand on this?
The only thing that I would just say is that we get county aid every year. We're just actually setting this off for next year. We had a project that we kind of thought we were going to use it for. We've been told that that project probably won't work. So we want to make sure we have a project that will work and get approved by PennDOT.
Perfect. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 14.6, can I get a motion accepting the proposal from Miller Residential in the amount of $10,850 to install new carpet tile flooring in the police department's quadrant?
So moved for approval.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion?
Mr. Neese, it's the reason this curb is gonna be, the other curb got damaged. Why is it?
So there was tile floor that was originally put down when we did the building 5-6 years ago. That tile floor has started to break up. We looked at getting the tile fixed. The cost of getting it fixed was actually pretty great, and getting it cleaned up and brought back to where it needed to be. The recommendation was to come back and do this carpet tile on top of what's there. They thought that would hold up the best and provide the most wear and tear for the police department.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to add anything, Chief Lunn, or? Nope. Any other questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 14.7, can I get a motion a motion adding Wedgewood Circle to the 2023 road program? This would represent a cost of approximately $17,000 for an additional 1,250 square yards of work.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 14.8, can I get a motion authorizing the township solicitor to review all required documents to amend the township's 457 plan and allow the board to make contributions to the plan?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese, you want to expand on this?
The only thing I would just mention is the board made a motion at the beginning of the year as part of my salary package or compensation package that you would contribute to my 457 plan. These are the documents that have to be put in place in order for that to happen.
Any other board comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 14.9, can I get a motion approving the resignation of Stephen Bradley as administrative support to the Finance and Public Works Departments?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. I don't think you need to expand anything on this, Mr. Neese, but we'll just say, I think the whole board thanks Mr. Bradley for his assistance and support over the last couple of years, and we wish him all the best. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. 14.10, can I get a motion ratifying the hiring of temporary employee to cover responsibilities as needed until the aforementioned position is filled?
So, second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 14.11, can I get a motion approving the hiring of an individual to run the cameras for all township meetings at a rate of $20 an hour?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Neese, it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you want to kind of expand on this.
The real goal of this is right now, we're using our current employees, paying them overtime to come out and do this. They do it because we've asked them to. They're not excited about doing it. So this would bring somebody in who hopefully would get excited about doing it. Hopefully we'll find somebody who has like a kind of a techie background that would want to come in and do this. And that's what we're hoping for.
Rose, do you not get excited to do this? I think you're always smiling when I see you, Rose. I don't know. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 14.12, can I get a motion approving the ad placement in the Marple Newtown Bannerama program and the jazz band listing at a cost of $310?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Section 15, old business. 15.1, discussion and possible action relative to the mural for the basketball court located at the municipal complex. I think Mr. Pollock is here, so I'll ask him to come up to the podium, but a little bit of by way of background, and then I'll turn it over to either Supervisor Partridge or Supervisor Russo to expand on this. About 2 months ago, there was a mural that was presented to the board. It was on the agenda for the basketball court right next to the township building. The board had some questions. The board set up a committee and had Supervisor Partridge and Supervisor Russo meet with Mr. Pollock, who's the chair of the Parks and Rec Department, as well as with Dr. Caitlin Foy. Is that who the other one was?
Yes.
They met on site. They discussed a few things. And I think we're at a point where people are comfortable with approving it, but I'll turn it over to you, Supervisor Partridge, to add anything.
Well, I'll comment. I think I'll comment afterwards.
Okay.
So you want to do a little, do you have any pictures? Or?
You have a picture of it, Rose? I have it on my phone.
But if you
Well,
don't,
I think we could talk just about it. I mean.
yeah,
We met with Wade and Doctor, and the concerns we had was obviously the playability.
Yes.
And we talked about that, and
Yeah.
Ed, why don't you
So-
expand on that? Because that's
Yeah,
that was
okay,
really the
all right.
concern.
yeah, I didn't know if you had anything. If you don't have anything, so.
No, I thought. I
Okay,
had said
so-
it Earlier.
So Wade's been working on this mural for quite some time, couple of years, I think, altogether. Big investment. There were some, concerns about the mural that different folks had, so we took those into consideration. We met with Wade. And, a couple of the things, the mural is only on the surface of the playing surface of the basketball court, not the entire surface. There's probably like a 10-foot perimeter around the basketball court that would just be a solid color, the other thing that was mentioned is the white lines in the basketball court, are really what the players are going to be looking at, whether it's out of bounds or the foul line or the 3-point line, center court line, so that all of the white lines that define the playing surface would be painted with a bright white as opposed to a dull white, so that they stand out. I think those couple things were the main concerns, and then also there was some young folks playing that evening, a whole group, and we talked to them and discussed it with them, and just got their feedback, and they were like, this is really cool, and any impact on your game? No. The young folks that we talked to were really in favor of the mural, and so we're just looking forward to Wade and his team to get it done. It's going to be a little painstaking, right? Because you're actually going to do the mural yourself.
Yes.
Which is pretty significant investment of time And we certainly appreciate that.
So George is going to have the court repaired. We're still unsure of the timing. But I'm gonna have templates made prior to the painting. And have, we're gonna contact the school to come in and help us assist with that. We've contacted one artist who's interested to help us for free. And then the woman, there's an artist that runs a school at the paper mill house. She's gonna come in with her class and assist us. So we'll have students, some artists involved. We'll have the templates made prior to the painting, because George and Steve want to have this thing done in like 3 to 5 days. So it's a short window to get it done. There's a lot of planning involved, but it should go rather smoothly.
It takes 6, don't worry about
Thank you for your support. I realize that, there's some risk with all of you that vote for this, because not everyone likes art or color in the community. But I think that once this is done, I think the majority of people will really be happy about it. The library, I've spoken with them. They can bring the kids out there during the day in the spring, fall, and winter, when it's a nice day, to have the kids do some activities out there as well.
it. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your time and work, Lee.
Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, I just have a question and a comment. Was the actual, like, a picture of the design included with the agenda, the public agenda?
That picture was included in the original presentation that was done, I think, about 3 months ago. I didn't have it here. I can send it in if.
I'm sorry, you mean the, like, presentation at the supervisors meeting or at the Parks and Rec?
Supervisors meeting. There was a presentation developed. I sent it in. I'm not sure if it was presented or not, but it should have been a package.
It was on
Yeah.
sorry,
Was
Supervisor
displayed,
Travis. It was on the, I think the solicitor is pulling it up now, or attempting to, but it was on a public agenda. And it was on there, I think, like you said, like 2 months ago.
It was displayed.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's a bird, a mother bird feeding a baby bird, a ladybug. The ladybug is the center court.
Okay. I actually, so I love the idea of beautifying the township with murals like this. And I can't say enough about the contributions, Wade, that you've done for Parks and Rec. It's amazing. I've been to some of the events that you did with the chalk day and everything. I think it's awesome. So please don't take my hesitance as any disrespect or anything negative, because you have done amazing things. And I'm not opposed to a mural generally either. I just, I don't play basketball. My kids don't play basketball. So it's a bold design to me. And I guess I've had a little hesitation just from some concerns that people have raised that have seen it, that Ed was talking about, in terms of playability, to make sure that, there's some bold non-traditional colors on there. And so I guess I just, my hesitance is only because I don't know, I wouldn't be using it. So I wish that we had more people who would be using it to play basketball, to sort of weigh in, to make sure that it's going to be something that won't disrupt from, the play. Because otherwise, like I said, I love what you've done with everything else. And I like the idea. I'm just not, I just wish we had more people who could weigh in on the actual design to make sure it could be playable.
So I had Rich Enale from Marple Newtown Recreation take a look at the design himself. And he saw no reason that it would interfere with play. And I spoke with a person who played on Villanova's basketball team and was a star, 50 years ago. And he reviewed it with one of his friends, and he saw no reason that it would impact play. And I have spoken with many of the people playing on the court itself and showed them the design, and they had no issues with it either. And we did meet with kids that night when I met with Supervisor Russo and Supervisor Partridge on the court, and they seemed to like it and didn't seem to think it would impact their play. So I have done some due diligence here with regard to impact to play. And I think I've passed muster on that.
I just need you to come up to the podium, state your name and address, sir.
My name's Bill Manley. I live
Hold on,
at
one-
121 Hunt Club Lane.
I just need you to say it into the microphone because
My name is Bill Manley. I live at 121 Hunt Club Lane. I just wanted to ask, those courts are primarily used for pickup games, I believe, aren't they? They're not sanctioned.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're exactly right. That's one of the reasons why that we could do something like this. If they were used for league games, then maybe we'd have other issues, but it's all
Exactly.
pickup.
That was my thinking. Thank
Yeah.
you.
anyone else from the public? Come up to this podium.
Paul San Francisco, live on Surrey Drive. I really want more research on this. I've had a lot of input. It is going to be distracting for the pickup games and things like that. I have a son played for Marple Newtown. Showed him it, showed the team. Very concerning, very distracting. I'm with Ms. Chandlis on this. Other areas would be great. This is a basketball court. It needs to have the lines, everything to be a basketball court. There are other areas of the township this mural should be on. A basketball court is not the area we want this mural on. Thank you.
Any other members from the public? All right. We'll turn it over to any board member who wants to make a motion.
Yep. Okay. Like to item number 15.1, I'd like to make a motion to approve the mural for the basketball court as presented by the committee. Yeah, and that's it.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge. Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? What I think we'll do is we'll do a roll call vote, Mr. Nease, on this. One thing I will note before we get into the vote, I don't play basketball. I don't have any interest in basketball. But what we did when we put this together is we picked two individuals who do care for basketball, between Supervisor Partridge and Supervisor Russo. They both, I think it's fair to say, had grave concerns about the original design. After sitting down with Wade and Dr. Foy and getting some changes to the plan, they're comfortable with it. They don't feel that it's going to interfere with any of the playing. As Wade said, Mr. Inhow has also indicated, he's the director of Marple Newtown Rec and Leisure, that he does not see that it's going to affect any playing. And additionally, like you said, Supervisor Partridge, you spoke to some of the students or some of the players out there, and they all felt that that would not impact it.
Right.
For that reason, of us tabling it for 2 months and doing that due diligence, I have no problem supporting this. And, you know, like Catherine or Supervisor Chandler said, I appreciate what you do, Wade. And so I look forward to this being finalized.
Motion.
Yes.
Ms. Roberts, like,
Yes.
Mr. Partridge,
Yes.
Mr. Russo,
Yes.
Ms. Chandlis,
I'm a no, but again, no disrespect to Wade and his contributions.
Mr. Altieri,
Yes,
passes 4-1.
thank you very much, Mr. Neese. We'll now move down to 16, land development approval, 16.1. Consider approving the preliminary / final land development request from Delaware County Christian School. Delaware County Christian School is represented by counsel, Mr. Petroza. I will turn the floor over to you, sir.
Good evening, Don Petrosa, representing Delaware County Christian School. It's a independent, nonprofit, coeducational, interdenominational day school with campuses in Newtown Township and also in Devon. Of course, the subject of this application is the Newtown Square campus. It's located at Goshen Road and Mallon Road. The applicant is seeking preliminary final land development approval for some additions to the high school building, which I believe will increase the footprint by about 2,280 square feet. together with some other improvements to the courtyard, landscaping, and stormwater management improvements. The property is in the R2 residential zoning district and is served by public water and sewer. The applicant is requesting two waivers. One is from 148-12A1 to submit the land development plans as a preliminary final application, and 148-43B4 to allow the use of HDPE pipe in lieu of reinforced concrete pipe. On December 22nd, we received a recommendation of approval for the project, subject to the Township Engineer's review comments from the Township Planning Commission. And they also recommended of the two waivers that have been requested. The plans were revised on June 28th, 2023, after some infiltration testing was done. We received review letters from the fire marshal and township arborist dated July 3rd, 2023, indicating that we had addressed their previous comments and that they had no further comments. The Delaware County Planning Commission recommended approval of the project. We received a Pannoni review letter dated August 1st, 2023. I would say relating primarily to stormwater management engineering detail, which we will address to the township engineer's satisfaction. It's basically a will comply. And with that, I would like to briefly call on Rick Stratton to show you the plan, show you where the additions are, and to, if you feel a need to comment on any of the specific Pannoni comments, you can do that as well.
Good evening, Rick Stratton with Chester Valley Engineers, civil engineer for the project. I do not have a copy of the plans with me. I have a small set here, but if they're not going to be just sure, much appreciated. So the existing property is about 16 acres with surrounded on by two roads here, Goshen Road and Malin Road. There's also some residential properties. It's zoned R2. The existing impervious cover for the site is about 47%, where 50 is allowed. This project brings it up to about 48.3. So a very small increase there. The building coverage existing is about 9.8, where 15% is allowed. This project brings it up to 10.12. So small additions to the high school building, as you can see here in the dark gray, some infill in a courtyard area. As I mentioned, Malin Road and Goshen Road are the two roads that border the property. There's 4 driveways in, 2 in and 2 out. All 4 are one way. The site has 267 parking spaces, where 259 are allowed. This project proposes no change to the parking, so the parking count will remain the same. We discussed with the Planning Commission that these improvements are not intended to increase the school population. It's really an improvement to the function of the school and some of the programming that goes inside. As you can see, there's also some athletic fields on the site. With the additional stormwater, with the additional impervious area, we're adding about 2,000 square feet in building footprint and about 2,000 square feet in impervious cover in the courtyard with some improvements there. We are providing stormwater management in the form of infiltration basin below the existing parking lot in the lower corner of the property. And as Mr. Petrosa mentioned, we received a review letter from Pannoni. I've discussed the comments with your engineer, and these are all will comply. We're in the process of revising the plans and providing a revised set for final review. The waivers, as Mr. Petrosa mentioned, are simply for preliminary final and also to use HDPE pipe in lieu of concrete.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's a very simple project, what we're doing here. Correct, right? I mean,
Yeah.
altogether, you're only putting in 2,280 square feet of additional new construction of a new footprint that you're doing there, correct?
Yes.
Essentially, you guys are just bumping out the two areas where they're kind of not bumped out right now.
Yes, and the additions are interior to the courtyard.
Yep.
So they wouldn't really necessarily even be seen by, residents bordering them.
You don't see it impacting stormwater management,
It'll be an overall improvement to stormwater.
okay, because you're doing a reduction of impervious.
That's correct. It's an increase of impervious, but we're doing a reduction in runoff being discharged.
Understood. You're gonna will comply with your Panoni review letter,
That's
correct?
Correct.
And then the fire marshal, I know that he had an issue with or a comment about the fire suppression system and linking it all together. He is satisfied? I didn't see that one, so I apologize. So you satisfied the fire marshal's letter?
They addressed his concerns and he said no further comments.
Perfect. And you got a favorable recommendation from the Newtown Planning Commission
And the arborist.
and the arborist. I don't mean to cut you off, but I figured I'd help you get to the chase there.
Thank you.
You have anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
Is there any members of the board who have any comment that they or questions that they want to ask either Mr. Stratton or Mr. Petrosa?
No.
Is there any members of the public who want to add or ask any questions to Mr. Stratton or Mr. Petrosa? Now's your time. Just come up to the podium, just state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Nicholas Braccio, 115 Hunt Club Lane. So I'm right on the corner of that back parking lot. I will say I'm not so optimistic about the stormwater drainage because whoever was in charge of that in the past didn't do such a good job. We see a lot of erosion on my property, which, like I said, is right here. So the water comes down here, it goes behind front of my garage, tends to flood the garage. I've built up the land a few times, just adding dirt and planting grass, which has helped. But we have a river going through our backyard, and this started happening years ago from some of the other blacktop driveway and everything. I've been there a long time, so seen some changes. My neighbor down here, Wayne, has a fence on his property, and he's actually had to build a little. They had to dig out and put river rock because his fence was falling down from all of the water going through. So this has been a problem for a long time, and I've voiced it before and hasn't really improved. Yeah, the other thing is whatever the air conditioner units, I know this is kind of unrelated, but you put air conditioner units on top of this building here. Not sure how long ago it was. How many years ago? Was that 2, 3, whatever it was? There's a loud hum that just comes across. I don't know if any of the other neighbors hear it, but it's very loud to us.
Don, just go up, just because there's, if you can, just go up.
If I might finish also. And the lighting, of course, shines right into our house, into our windows and everything. I have spoken with Jake, I believe, a few times. Also the trash. I know you guys put a fence up. I'm just going to lay everything out there just so you have all the, I know you guys put a fence up. It takes forever to get the brush cut on your property that grows over our bushes in our garage. There's trash back there constantly. He said something about the lighting because of kids drinking back there. I've never seen that happen. I'm outside all the time, especially late at night. Never seen any kids drinking. They said it was for safety for your employees, teachers and everything. I've never seen a problem, but the lighting, like I said, and I don't know about how these buildings are going to be, but if there's going to be more air conditioning units or lighting or something like that, it is definitely going to, I would say it would probably affect us in a negative way. So I would hope that you really take care of that. That's it. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Is the lighting out all night or does it go off at a certain time?
It does not go off.
And can you, I know you said 115 Hunt Club, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you just spell your last name for me?
Puraccio.
Petros, I think we need to get the lighting looked at. There's no reason you need lights on at the school against his residents all night long. You have to worry about people coming on the property, put a gate or something at the entrance. I mean, that's all these residents do not need light on their houses. That's something you should be able to fix.
Yeah, I was,
Thank you for
Frank,
your time.
Frank, I was surprised to hear about the lighting issue because somebody, I don't think it was this gentleman, but somebody did show up at the planning commission meeting and they met about it. And I know they made some change to the light. Now, maybe it didn't completely, but we thought it had resolved the problem. A couple of people.
If there's some kind of event at night till 9 o'clock or something, fine, keep the lights on.
Right.
But there's no reason these folks should have to look at these lights 24/7.
I
Makes no
agree.
sense.
I agree.
And then with this project, maybe there's something you can do to divert some water away from these people's property.
Well, Mike, let me just, so following up on the stormwater, so the improvements that you talked about, will they improve things for your neighbor here?
Yes, whenever you add impervious cover, you have to manage the stormwater that results from that. The impervious cover that we're adding is inside the courtyard.
thought those houses were.
We recognize that this corner of the parking lot here, there's really no control for that runoff. It does probably shed away from that parking lot and onto the neighboring properties.
There's
So
no curb?
along these sections, no, there is not. I think there are some curb bumpers, but there is no curb there.
Well, is there any way you can help improve the drainage somehow?
Yes,
You
so
put it
we're adding an
something-
inlet. And we're gonna lower that inlet so that the water is directed to that lower
Well,
inlet.
where's this water going that you're gonna put in this inlet? Where's it gonna go to?
It connects to an existing pipe that goes behind the middle school and eventually discharges and combines with the other stormwater.
Which is
management
lower
systems.
than this area, right? Down in the
Yes.
fields is lower than where the school is.
Yes,
So why can't you try to figure out when you're doing this inlet, to try to put an inlet or some kind of trench drain across this area where him and his neighbor are getting flooded?
yeah, we'll look at some asphalt curbing along the perimeter here to help contain that water and get it into this stormwater management system so that it doesn't run off.
Oh, you're putting a whole management system there.
There's a whole bed right here.
So you
Is that
will.
new or is that existing?
New for this
All right, well,
project.
then there's no reason you shouldn't be able to improve his situation, his neighbor's situation with this bed. Getting the water and putting the catch basin on the, I guess that would be the southwest side of the property,
Yes,
right? Should be able to figure something out there.
yes. And Nick, if you're gonna talk, I just need you to go up to if you're gonna talk, I need you to go to the podium because we have people who are watching this.
I would like to just make sure we're clear that the water actually comes from somewhere up here. And it comes down before we're even at this parking lot, it's coming down here. This is where it flows down, so there's a back driveway here, somehow making its way down across the back, but it's before this area that you're talking about.
This is Bill Manley again. I actually live right next door to Nick, between him and Wayne, the other property that was mentioned. And yeah, it does come across probably 4 or 5 properties, just kind of washes across the whole thing. And we've been dealing with it for years. And we've asked before, that was actually why I was here tonight and why I was here when we were doing the lights in the fields the last go around.
Yeah, well, there's no reason you guys can't put a curb up and direct the water to that detention. Or that underground detention base. I mean, put a piece of curb along the end of the parking lot and it'll improve these people's situation. It's that you're doing all this work, you're putting in the basin, that's the big cost, putting a curb in. I don't know if that's 100 feet or 200 feet, but if it improves the water direction into this basin, which then brings it down below, it's gonna improve these people's situation tenfold.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know how they do it, it's up to engineers, but we have.
Yeah, I mean, turning the lights off and put some curbing in and improve their neighbors' situation, I think is gonna go a long way. I mean, yeah. I mean, the lights should be on past 9 o'clock, event. And the water, now that this is the big cost, the corner, which you're already figuring on doing.
Any other questions from the board? Any other questions from the public?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good, good.
I'm sorry. So they're talking about this. Is there a way, Rich or Eric, that, we're fine with the additions, but clearly that this has been an ongoing problem. Is there a way that you all can, show us how you're going to design this and then we can approve it? I mean, I don't know how to, I don't mean to hold your feet to the fire on it, but since you're here and we're hearing, the neighbors' concerns and you're doing the basin, we'd like to know that you're gonna at least mitigate that problem that's happening behind your neighbors.
Yes, we will comply with these comments and we will address that with curb and inlets appropriate to direct that water to the underground stormwater management system. So
Because that's part of the stormwater management,
Right,
correct,
yeah,
is to make sure there's no runoff.
I just point out here, this is the parking lot that wraps around here.
Yeah.
Right now, there is no curb and that water is definitely shedding off of there.
Okay,
They are proposing curb all the way around here. So all
Okay.
of that water on this parking lot will be captured. So down here, if you're talking about drainage is coming down here, this would be the area you want to.
At a few hundred feet?
Yeah, it's about, probably about 150 feet
Right.
here.
150 feet of curb.
yeah, well, I just want to make sure that the engineers have got that so that, that they're all covered
The
for
water's already
this.
draining that way. You hear them saying it, now you're gonna catch it and run it right into the detention.
And then the lights, if you can work
Yeah,
on the
lights have
lights.
to be addressed.
Yeah,
There's some minor issues.
yeah, or yeah, the lights and things can just go to Steve Nease, but we just want to be sure that these neighbors get this fix for their property because it's not them. Okay, that's fine, Don, yeah.
Well,
I know.
I think the big lift really is the basin, which you already have proposed going there, right?
Yeah.
If we had all the water going down there, you had no way to get it anywhere. You already have it. It's going that way, so. This is a natural flow, from what they're saying.
If you all can work on that and make sure that they're covered with it.
Yes,
You work on with Mr. Johnson on these, on the curbing,
yes.
the drainage, and then work with Mr. Neese on getting the lights addressed at appropriate time, whether it's 9 o'clock or 9:30 if you have an event, but there's no need that lights on all night. I mean, you gotta close the driveway off if you're concerned about people going back there. No.
So we're looking at, adding these things as potentially, as conditions of approval. I mean, the curbing we discussed, I assume we're okay with that.
Yes.
The lighting, we want to make sure that that's covered, for the neighbors. So what's the situation with the lighting? These lights now are on all night?
I'm not aware of a timing mechanism that exists.
Folks said they are, so.
So
Let's get it addressed.
can we commit as a condition of approval to a certain time?
Delaware County Christian School, but we will agree, I think the times that Mr. Russo was suggesting seem reasonable to me, unless there's
I mean,
some,
if you have an event till 10 o'clock on a Friday night,
Right.
fine.
right,
But these folks shouldn't have to look at lights
Yeah.
when their houses back up to that. So
So
you and I don't want that either. So
right,
if it's 10 o'clock, because you have a basketball game or something at 10 o'clock at night, fine on a Friday.
right.
But if there's nobody there after 8 o'clock at night during the week, then let's get the lights off at 8 o'clock at night.
So lights out by 9 o'clock unless there's an event.
This is really easy stuff. I mean, or you didn't hear it before. These folks are here. Well, they're good neighbors, and if you can improve their two concerns, I think it'd go a long way to make
Right.
everybody happy.
I honestly thought the lighting situation had been addressed. Somebody showed up and said that it had been at one of the planning commission meetings. Right.
Well, the water thing I think is very important to folks too, because, now that you have a way to maintain it and catch it, it's just a matter of getting it directed there.
Agreed.
That's a small lift.
Is that what you said? Or you say,
So,
or you estimate 150 feet of curbing?
Roughly, just say approximately 150 feet, whatever it is. Listen, the only water should roll into these folks' yard is whatever's on this side of the curb, whichever in the grass. They shouldn't have to accept all the water from the parking lot. I know it was designed that way, but you're gonna be able to fix that pretty easily now.
About 250 feet. I would say the site as it is now is just one of the symptoms of before we had stormwater management, and now this is the opportunity where we can. correct it.
This was built whenever it was built.
Right.
So would you like to,
No, but now we have an opportunity to fix this.
would you like to condition to read the applicant will work to address the stormwater runoff problems of the neighbors to the south by installing curbing, trenching, or channels connected to the stormwater basin?
Perfect.
And then the next one would be the security lighting in the southern portion of the campus will be turned off by 9 PM unless there is a special event where further changes are approved by the board.
Okay.
Because there might be operational things that we're not aware of.
Right.
If they have to come back and request to adjust that, you don't want to have to open up land development already.
So Rich, I'm going to add two conditions. I have something written, however, I'm going to use your words, so I'm going to, at that point, turn over to you for condition 11 and 12. Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Petrosa?
No, sir.
Mr. Stratton, anything else? Nope. Any other members of the public have anything? Nope. All right, I will look for a motion then.
Okay. All right, resolution number 2023-29 preliminary/final land development approval, Delaware County Christian School. 4 building additions totaling 2,400 square feet and courtyard improvements at 462 Mallon Road. Whereas the Delaware County Christian School Society, also known as Delaware County Christian School or DCCS, the developer, has submitted preliminary final land development plans entitled Delaware County Christian School Preliminary/Final Land Development Plan for Delaware County Christian School, prepared by Chester Valley Engineers, Inc. of Paoli, Pennsylvania, prepared November 22nd, 2022, last revised June 28th, 2023, sheets 1 through 12, the plan to the Board of Supervisors for preliminary/final land development approval. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Newtown Township hereby resolves and conditionally approves: 1, the preliminary/final plans; 2, the waivers and or partial waivers approved in connection with the preliminary plan to the extent they have not already been satisfied, as well as the following, all of which must be set forth on the final recorded plans. A, Section 148-12A to allow combined preliminary and final plan review, and B, 148-43.8, or to allow use of HDPE pipe in lieu of reinforced concrete pipe, RCP, beyond 20 feet from the student commons building addition to facilitate a usable student plaza space. 3, such approval is subject to the terms and conditions of any unsatisfied application comments and recommendations in the Township Engineer Review Letter of August 1st, 2023. 4, the developer will execute a stormwater management and maintenance agreement acceptable to the Township Engineer and Solicitor and make the corresponding contribution to the Township Stormwater Management Maintenance Fund. 5, developer shall enter into a developers and financial security agreement with the township to be prepared by the township solicitor. And 6, developer shall comply in all respects with all applicable township codes, ordinances, and regulations, as well as any applicable county, state, or federal regulations, and developer must obtain all applicable township, state, county, and federal permits, approvals, and or waivers. 7, developers shall obtain an NPDES permit as applicable. 8, final approval is contingent upon payment of all outstanding professional fees / escrow replenishment within 45 days of approval, except as properly challenged in accordance with the municipality's planning code. 9, such approval is subject to developer obtaining approval from Newtown Township Municipal Authority and or DEP as applicable for sanitary sewer connection and or design and or planning. 10, the appropriate township officials are authorized to execute such necessary agreements and documents to effectuate the above. 11,
The applicant will work to address the stormwater runoff problems of the neighbors to the south by installing curbing, trenching, or channels connected to the stormwater basin. And 12, the security lighting in the southern portion of the campus will be turned off by 9 PM unless there is a special event or further changes are approved by the Board of Supervisors.
Resolved this 11th day of September 2023 at a public meeting of the Board of Supervisors, and that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any additional board comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All is approved.
Aye.
And all those opposed, motion carries unanimously. I thank you, Mr. Petrosa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Tran.
Thank you.
Thank you to, thank you to the members of the public. Hopefully this resolves those issues, so. We'll now move down to 17.2, consider approving resolution 2023-30, updated rules and regulations for conduct of public meetings. Note, this resolution replaces resolution 2022-06, rules and regulations for conduct of public meetings. Mr. Nease.
Yes, the only real change over your prior resolution is that your hearings, your land development approval and resolutions have all been moved after old business. You've been doing that anyhow. This just makes your resolution for your meeting order match what we've been doing.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion for resolution number 2023-30, an updated resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Newtown Township, Delaware County, establishing rules and regulations for the conduct of public meetings pursuant to the Sunshine Act.
Second.
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move down to section 18, board comment. If any members of the board have any comment that they want to provide. Only thing I will add is congratulations to Supervisor Partridge, whose stepson Kevin was married this weekend up in Boston. So congratulations to you and Maria Teresa.
Thank you.
More so for her
Appreciate
than
it.
for you. We're more excited for her, but yeah. Is there any members of the public who have any public comment they'd like to provide? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.